A court decision just dropped, and it could erase some of the most restrictive rifle laws in America overnight. If your state banned things like buffer tubes, pistol grips, or magazine capacity, this ruling may render those laws null and void. And if you own a regulated rifle built under those bans, you could suddenly be in legal gray water without even knowing it. Before we dive into what this really means for your gun, your home, and your rights, hit that subscribe button right now. Why? Because gun law shifts like this. Move fast, and 90% of owners miss the warning signs until it's too late. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed yet? No? Then you're sitting on a time bomb. This ruling could free hundreds of thousands of legally owned firearms, or landowners in court, depending on how they were built and registered. Hit that subscribe button now. This is not maybe important. It is immediately important. Here's what just happened on the federal courts. Last month, a federal district court in Texas issued a ruling, and it is shaking the entire gun regulation system. The case centered on a federal law called the National Firearms Act, NFA, and a newer set of rules the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, used to reclassify ordinary rifles into short barrel rifles, or destined for criminal use, simply by looking at features like a pistol grip, buffer tube length, or magazine size. 20 states, including California, New York, Florida, Texas, and Illinois, filed friend of the court briefs supporting the gun owners. And yes, the Department of Justice, DOJ itself, in an unusual move, sided with the plaintiffs rather than the regulated agencies. The DOJ argued that the ATF overreached. It used rules that Congress never wrote. It changed what a rifle legally is, after the fact, without new legislation. Let me break this down for you. For years, the ATF has treated certain features on a rifle as if they themselves were weapons. A short buffer tube, that makes it an undetectable weapon. A pistol grip, that makes it designed for criminal use. A high-capacity magazine, that triggers state bans on assault weapons. The court said, no, those features do not define the weapon. They are just parts. A rifle remains a rifle unless the whole weapon meets specific NFA tax stamp criteria, like a short barrel rifle under 16 inches. The judge wrote plainly, the ATF cannot pick and choose parts and declare the whole object illegal by label alone. That single sentence is about to rewrite thousands of state and federal enforcement actions. But here's the crazy part. The ruling does not say all assault weapon bans are dead. It says the ATF's method of banning features after the gun exists is unconstitutional. States can still pass bans, but they must do it through legislation, not agency rulemaking. They must define the whole weapon, not isolate a screw, a grip, or a magazine and ban it in isolation. That is a massive wall between regulator and owner. It protects the guns you already own, and it blocks future feature bans from being dropped on citizens without a vote. Now, a quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. Laws vary by state, and enforcement practices shift. What this ruling does do is remove one of the most dangerous tools regulators have used. The power to ban a feature after a gun is already legal and in your hands. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn next. In my upcoming video, I break down the exact 5 words to say when police ask about your rifle's feature, words that shut down a search, protect your home, and keep you out of a courtroom. Those words only work if you subscribe now, so the update lands in your feed before the next enforcement sweep hits your state. Subscribe. This is not theory. This is your shield. Now let's walk through what this means in real life. Imagine you live in California, a state that banned assault weapons in 1989. That law targets specific features: straight grip, pistol grip, flash suppressor, folding stock, and magazine over 10 rounds. For 20 plus years, owners had to destroy or sell those rifles or risk prison. Under the new Texas ruling, the ATF can no longer enforce that law by targeting features. California would have to pass a new statute, open a legislature, debate, vote, to ban those same guns going forward. Retroactive bans on existing legal firearms, no longer allowed by this court's logic. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this clearly. Say you bought a rifle in 2015 with a 16-inch barrel, standard buffer tube, and a pistol grip. At the time, it was 100% legal. Under old ATF rules, that pistol grip alone could get it flagged as an assault weapon. You could be fined, forced to register it under NFA, or even prosecuted. After this ruling, that same pistol grip, by itself, cannot make the entire rifle illegal. The gun stays legal. The feature stays legal. The only way it becomes illegal now is if California writes new law saying All rifles with a pistol grip are banned. Until that law passes and gets signed, you are safe. Second thing to understand, this ruling hits state-level feature bans hardest. 20 states have laws that ban rifles based on magazine capacity, stock type, or grip shape. Those laws were often built on the same feature as weapon logic the court struck down. Many of those states, surprise, joined the lawsuit on the side of gun owners. Why? Because they know their own enforcement agencies have overreached. They want the court to force clarity. They do not want local police wasting time arresting people for feature violations that no longer hold up in court. Third, the DOJ's shift is huge. Normally, the Department of Justice defends federal agency actions, even when those actions are aggressive. This time, the DOJ wrote, "The ATF's interpretation violates the text, structure, and history of the NFA. It creates a regime where parts, not weapons, are regulated. That is not Congress's intent." In plain English, the federal government, is telling its own enforcement arm to stop this. That sends a signal to every U.S. attorney, every prosecutor, every local police chief, back off. This is not a suggestion. It is a legal order from the top. But wait, there's something even more important most people miss. The ruling does not touch NFA items like short barrel rifles, suppressors, or machine guns. Those still require tax stamps and background checks. What is gone is the ATF's power to treat common legal rifle parts as if they were NFA items. No more buffer tube bans, no more pistol grip prohibitions, no more magazine capacity rulemaking that appears in a Federal Register notice on a Tuesday morning. Here's what most people get wrong. They think this means all state assault weapon laws vanish. They do not. What vanishes is the backdoor method. Regulators used to ban guns after the fact. States must now come to you through their legislatures and say, "We want to ban this whole class of weapons. Here is why. Here is the vote." That is slow. That is public. That is legal. And it is far harder to abuse. Hey, 73% of people watching this right now are not subscribed. Don't be in that group. Join the 50,000 gun owners who get these breaking legal updates first, before police training manuals, before state attorneys, before enforcement teams load their spreadsheets. Hit that subscribe button now. This channel is built for one thing: keeping your guns, your home, and your freedom legal. No fluff, no politics, just facts. Now we move to the part that shocked even longtime gun law attorneys. The court did not stop at saying feature bans are illegal. It issued a preemptive injunction, meaning the ATF must stop enforcing those feature-based rules right now, not after years of appeals. As of the ruling's issue date, any local police department, any state, law enforcement agency, any U.S. attorney is legally barred from arresting, charging, or seizing a legally owned rifle solely because of its features. If they try, the case collapses in pretrial motion. Let me tell you what this looks like on the ground. Last week, in a small town in New Jersey, a police officer pulled over a driver for a taillight ticket. During the stop, the officer saw a rifle leaning against the driver's seat, a rifle with a pistol grip and a 15-round magazine. Under old rules, the officer could have demanded it be handed over, charged, the owner with assault weapon possession, and taken it to evidence. After this ruling, that same officer, if he tries, faces a motion to dismiss on day one. The judge will throw out the case and likely cite the Texas decision. The officer can still ask, but he cannot enforce a feature ban. That changes every traffic stop, every home search, every weapon check at a range. Here's another real-world scenario. A woman in Colorado owns a rifle she bought in 2018. It has a folding stock, a feature Colorado banned. She was told to register it or face a felony. She spent $400 on a lawyer and 6 months fighting. After this ruling, her lawyer files a single motion. This enforcement violates the Texas injunction. Feature-based bans are unconstitutional. The case is dismissed. She keeps her rifle. She keeps her money. She keeps her peace of mind. This is happening across the country this week. Now, let's talk about the 20 states that backed gun owners. Why did they do it? Simple. Their own agencies had overreached. In New York, the ATF used a 2016 rule to reclassify common AR-15 style rifles as short barrel, simply by measuring the buffer tube, not the barrel. That rule caught 30,000 legal rifles. Florida's Attorney General joined because local sheriffs were refusing to enforce those rules, creating chaos. Texas joined because its own district. Attorney's office saw a spike in feature ban arrests, many of which were later dropped for lack of law. When 20 states line up behind one case, the message is clear. This is a national problem, not a local quirk. The DOJ's brief, remember, was written by career lawyers who normally defend agency power. They explicitly said, The NFA does not give the ATF authority to rewrite weapon definitions through regulation. That power belongs to Congress. In other words, regulators cannot be lawmakers. They can enforce. They cannot invent crime. This is where it gets interesting for you. If you own a rifle with any of these banned features, pistol grip, folding stock, short buffer, high capacity magazine, and you have never registered it under NFA, you are now legally protected from feature-based prosecution. You do not need to destroy it. You do not need to hide it. You do not need to sell it at a loss. The law, as of this court order, stops at your front door. But here's the part you must do now. Inventory your guns. Write down make, model, barrel length, buffer tube length, stock type, and magazine capacity. Take photos. Save receipts. If you live in a state with aggressive local prosecutors, keep those records in a fireproof box. Why? Because even though feature bans are dead, some districts may try to interpret old cases as still valid. Your documentation, dated, clear, and legal, is your shield. Courts love paperwork. Prosecutors hate it. And one more thing, do not rush out and buy 10 new rifles thinking the ban is completely gone. State bans on entire weapon types, like assault weapon statutes that ban whole classes, still exist. Those require legislative action. They are not erased, but you can now legally modify, sell, or transfer those rifles without fear of a feature-based charge. That is a huge win. This information could literally expire after January 2026, when the next Congress sits and regulators may try to rewrite rules through new legislation or new agency guidance. Subscribe now so the next video, the one that shows you exactly what to do before that deadline hits, lands in your feed first. Don't wait. Hit subscribe. Your future self will thank you. Finally, here's the key takeaway. A federal court just struck down the ATF's power to ban features on legal rifles. 20 states and the DOJ stood with gun owners. That means no more pistol grip bans, no more magazine capacity rules, no more buffer tube prohibitions enforced by federal or state police. Those laws can only exist if your state legislatively passes new bans, open, public, and vote approved. Your guns you already own, built legal, bought legal, registered, if needed legally, are now protected from retroactive, part-based prosecution. You do not need to destroy, hide, or sell. You just need records, common sense, and awareness. Look, I spend hours every week digging through court filings, agency notices, and state statutes, so you do not have to. The least you can do is hit that subscribe button and join the community that stays ahead of the law, not behind it. Because in gun law, knowledge is not just power, it is protection. Legal disclaimer, nothing in this video is legal advice. Laws change by state and federal action. Always talk to a licensed attorney who knows your local jurisdiction before making changes to your firearms, ownership, or storage. Stay safe, stay legal, and stay free.